3, yeah, it's this Thursday.
After a summer, I go into the bank, and I take
We have to, you have the warrant.
It's giving me a hard time.
It's all new?
I bought those tickets when I was. We stopped going.
Was amazing.
Those.
I think, yeah.
Oh, swimming.
Swimming, I know.
I'm afraid of heights.
The seagull, I agree with you.
Swimming, yeah, the seagull was fun.
No, it's much more fun.
All right, so, well, I think we can get started. Welcome back, everyone, for the November 14th School Building Committee meeting. We have a quorum, so our first order of business, I think we have meeting minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the October 27th meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? That's unanimous. I did see some invoices.
Yep, so there's invoices from Sims Main McKee for OPM services, $7,400. Also from Sims Main McKee, it's OPM printing services for $12,650. Flansburgh for completion of designer services for $23,000, as well as Flansburgh for the transportation study of $4,950. And Flansburgh for the Task A, that was the enrollment study for the high school at $5,125.
Motion to approve warrant 13 not to exceed $53,125.
I'll second that since I've already signed it.
Okay. Any discussion? All those? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right. Unanimous?
Okay. The MSBA board meeting on November 9th, they approved the project to move forward. Chris was there as well as Ed. It was a quick one for Bourne. There's a big agenda, but the state treasurer and all the groups was there, and they voted to approve the project and all the funding that was along with it. So it was a good meeting. It was a quick one for us. We were pretty much a yes and move on, but it was great. Ed, you want to anything?
No, that was about it. You know, it was very straightforward. We're more near the end of the process here, so it's pretty much formality, it seems, at this point.
And maybe just to elaborate, anyone at home that will either watch this or watch the tape, that meeting, because we've told them that it's approved, and it was approved in a written letter in July, and this is in regards to the budgeting.
Yeah, this is in regards to the budgeting, and then in a letter that's part of the package has what the grant is for. The estimated maximum for the facilities grant, as well as when you add the incentives points for the $50,150,082.
And that matches what we've advised the public,
Exactly.
that same number. So it is the 15.1 million, or up to.
Up to.
But more than likely, I mean, that's what it is.
And that's really what this was. It was really from the project scope and budget agreement, and then moving forward. So.
All right. Excellent. So, which brings us to item 5, a ballot vote on December 6th. That's kind of like the conclusion to the voting part of it for everyone, really. I mean, you know, the state's taken their votes, and we approved at town meeting, and then, so we also need a ballot vote December 6th. I don't know what other discussion anyone has on it. You know, we've talked about-
I know Chris had filmed an interview this morning that focused on the vote on December 6th. I don't know if anybody can elaborate on that a little bit more. I know, Peter, you weren't there, but you were
Part of the plan.
going to be part of the plan. But so he completed that this morning, which is going to be good to get out for the message. And,
on the cable access.
Yep,
Okay.
on BTV.
Basically, it's just, you know, why we need this, what happens when we approve it, what happens if it ends up being denied. And it's just more or less an overview of what we've done and why we need to do people's now. You know, it's just to educate the vote, you know, the voters in town on why we on why and how. I mean, it was pretty cut and dry. The moderator did this show as a retired superintendent from another community. So, I mean, it was nice to have someone that understands what's going on, you know, from an educational perspective.
That's great. Perfect.
I think we'd be remiss if we did not take advantage of the article that was in the Cape Cod Times this week that Donna Buckley has already written a nice piece for Facebook, I believe.
I actually submitted that to the Cape Cod Times, Bourne
Excellent.
Enterprise, and the Bourne Courier, and I
Excellent.
heard back from all three of them. And so I think, I'm pretty sure they're all going to.
Great,
the piece.
Because that, above the fold, front page, lead.
Right.
Yeah. My son came home today saying, "Mom, we can't drink the water fountain today." So, I mean, it's really, I think parents are gonna start hearing from their first graders anyway, gee, I wonder why they can't drink the water fountain. Oh, yeah, there was lead, it tested positive for lead, which was a surprise. I think everyone was shocked by it. But then when you think about it, it shouldn't be that much of a surprise. I mean, this is an aging building. People know that these are risks that we're taking, and it's one more reason why we need to get it switched out. For sure.
And although it may appear coincidental, the schools do routine testing.
Right, yeah,
And it just happened that
yeah, absolutely.
Well, to be clear, this wasn't a routine test. This was we took advantage of a Massachusetts Water something trust.
Yeah,
I don't have it in my mouth.
UMass is leading a $2 million grant the state came up with last year. We applied for, we're part of it. So this is of all the schools, this is a comprehensive testing of all the drinking water sources in the building. In the past, we have complied, or the local water authorities have tested like 2 fixtures, twice a year. We've never had any positive tests. It's the first time we expanded to all the drinking water sources in each building. It's the first results we got were for Peebles. And to date, the only issues are with all the, 4 out of the 5 classrooms in the first grade hallway where we had the issues with high lead content. Everything else tested in the building did not, exceed the standards. So we have addressed it, we immediately addressed it, shutting off the water supplies and making the sinks hand washed only. And then we put water to like 5-gallon water dispensers in each classroom and with cups, and that's what we've been doing.
But I think it is coincidental in the fact that we've done this we participated in this grant, done extensive water testing, but I think it points to what Donna has said and continues to say, and we all say, is that it leads to the deterioration of this building or the buildings, the lack of adequate systems within that particular building, whether it's the wall veneer systems and the wooded studs, or if it's the plumbing that's in there as well. So I don't think that we had hits on other areas and plumbing and stuff in there, possibly because of the greater use of those areas. I've done a lot of reading this weekend due to the fact that we did get that information last Wednesday evening and then sent it out on Thursday to everybody. But there's a lot around the fixtures and the plumbing that it would really come from, because the water department has been doing routine tests and has not come back ever in their routine testing that they've done over the time. But we've done over 400 tests across the district, and we're going to do a couple more tomorrow, as a matter of fact, right, Mr. Donahue?
Yes, tomorrow we're gonna do some more. For some, we did realize we missed a couple of fixtures at Peebles, and we looked into it further, so we're gonna do those in the morning.
So we're being very thorough, but to a certain extent, you can't be too surprised with this particular facility because of the systems that were put in place 50 years ago. And again, I'm going to go back to, and I still commend Donna for her writing. Go back to, there are buildings that have certainly older than this particular building and are standing up to the test of time. But this particular building, the way it was constructed, is not standing up to the test of time. The systems and structures in place are not going to be, viable that much longer, or it's going to be, quite honestly, a money pit for the district. And that's, if there isn't a favorable vote December 6th, we all get it. We know that this building's going to require some mechanical systems and other systems upgrades and support, and to the tune of upwards of $16 million. To me, that's just throwing good money away. Where, for 24, which I know is a lot of money, but for $24 million, you get a brand new school with meeting all of codes and systems, mechanical systems, in this modern era that we're in at this point in time. But yeah, the lead testing is a shock, and again, if it's not a favorable vote on December 6th, we're going to have to do more than some of these temporary fixes that we've put in place right now. There is no safe level of lead. On the flip side of that, there is no level of lead that we've had testing so far that is going to present a serious health issue for the people that are in there. But now that we know we cannot allow it to continue on. But there is no safe level for lead within there. And we haven't had hits on copper yet. That's part of the testing as well. We'll see how that comes forward too.
Did the water district test the water before it entered the school and in the school, or just in the school?
Just from a fixture, they would do two fixtures of
In
the
other words,
building.
they didn't test from their street inlet
No.
in?
No, from fixtures.
Yeah, they would test either a water spigot, an external spigot, and an inside spigot, or.
I think generally they would probably do a kitchen faucet in one of the water
Wherever
bubblers.
stagnant water lays more often, they usually do it, make it a test there, because the lead will build up.
When you do the test, you do initial test first thing in the morning, then you run the water for 30 seconds, and do a flush test after 30 seconds. That's how we're doing the testing now. That's the protocol.
Just out of curiosity, you touched upon cost. If for some reason this does not go through in December, is there any type of ballpark estimate on how much it would cost to mitigate that at the People's School? Just right now, what we know.
We haven't really had a chance to explore
so
that.
fresh.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah, it's still
gonna
so
happen.
new. Okay, I was just
It's
curious.
high,
Right,
because
it
all
must
your
be.
piping, any
Yeah.
lead joints, anything of that nature has to be taken out and replaced,
Right,
hidden through the walls, everywhere else.
right.
So it'd be almost cheaper to do what they're doing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hate to say it, but what they're doing is the mitigation.
Right,
I mean,
well, that's
that's-
what I was gonna bring up, so that's something that if it does pass, that would get us through the 3 years it's gonna take, right, to
Mhm.
get the new
Do
school,
it.
okay.
The other thing for the preparation for the vote, I think it's important for people to know, we haven't revisited this in a while, and I was gonna ask you, Mr. Chairman, if you wouldn't mind touching upon this. You know, the town approved $750,000 for us to complete this process. Where do we stand with our budget? Has there been cost savings in our budget? Have we spent 100% of the $750,000? Or are we being, good stewards of the town's money and making sure that we only spend what we need to get the job done? I think it's important that the town hears the functionality, the budget sense of this particular group. We were approved for $750, it didn't mean we spent $750, so maybe you want to review what our budget is and what the current balance is moving forward, and the current plan for expenditures moving forward. I think the community should hear that from us as a committee as well.
Well, we were approved $750 at town meeting, and our intention was really never to spend the $750. Now, some of that is reimbursable from the state as part of their grant process that we've entered into. So, I guess right now, we have a balance out of the $750, that seemed correct,
That's correct.
$244,000. So $244,000 has not been spent
We
of the
committed to
original
650.
$750.
The committed number, you should really say that,
Yeah,
Well,
committed 6.
so we've committed 608,825. No, that's, what we've committed 608,825
we have
of the
100.
total 750. And there is a study being conducted that's partially complete, paid for at the high school in regards to the high school study with space. Right, that was an additional expense that,
Yes.
that we had. And then the remaining balances of our contracts with Flansburgh and,
But we'll get
which are
reimbursed.
really,
We are getting reimbursed 44%, around 44% of these,
right.
the majority of these costs too.
But regardless of the percentage, we did not spend 100% of our share, either way. The full share or our share of the entire budget for the study. So we have tried to be really good stewards of that.
Do you expect any more invoices from Kent and Joe?
No,
Their
that,
contracts are, yeah.
the ones approved
100%.
today for Sims and myself, that's 100%.
Right.
And the transportation is off the table. So the only one left is the Task B of the high school. And so the school has a copy of the draft of the existing conditions, so they're just reviewing that, or going to review it, and then we're gonna wrap that up. But there is a Task C that I feel is no longer, applicable, because that was, if there was, looking at the enrollment, if there was a big enrollment, we had to do major designs for the high school. That would have taken a lot of engineering narratives and whatnot. So that Task C of the high school study, I feel there's no reason to do it. So it'll end with the existing conditions report.
But we've been billed for it totally, right?
No.
No, just task
No.
A.
Yeah.
Just the first one. So the remainder is, it's in here, if you,
Yep. Yeah, I saw it. It's in,
so the existing, if you go to,
a few pages in from the last page.
yeah, 3 pages in from the last. So you've been billed for task 1, 5,125, and task 2 is the existing conditions. That's still being reviewed and processed, so that's 9,500.
Right.
So task 3,
We won't need.
you don't need.
So we won't be billed for that. We won't, so that'll be a little more savings.
Right, so the only thing we can see that current next bill will come is the 9,500
That's
for
it.
task 2.
Mm-hmm.
So out of the 108, we're down to 99 and roughly in that area that we could return to the town.
I think it's more than that. I think we're hovering around 80%, 80 to 83% total expenditure for the project on the feasibility at this current time. So I think it's a little bit more than that. I think we're closer to the 141 mark as far as returning to the town, if not a little bit more than that, with our current commitments. So I think that we're in really good shape. I think we're right, we maintain the budget around 80% expended. And I think that that's good numbers to share with the public, so the public knows that we've, haven't been free and loose with town money. It's really important to keep, our mind in a budget sense when it comes to any of these big ticket items, big projects for Bourne. And I think we've done well as a committee. And I also want to compliment SMMA and Kent Flansburgh Associates as well for living within our budget too.
Probably looking at $250,000 reimbursement back to the town, or a little bit more than that when it's all said and done, so. I mean, we are, and the only thing is, if this project goes down, then we're gonna bore the full cost next time.
Right.
So, that needs to be said too.
Well, it's just, and the study is the small potatoes of
Yeah.
the big picture, because, like we've discussed before, if there's a next time, the grant will be substantially less also, so, we're doing the best we can with that percentage right now.
But Peter brings up a good point. Out of the 750,000, for 40 to 45% of the entire budget of 750 is going to be returned to the town
Mm-hmm.
through reimbursement or what is unexpended balances. So it's a good point to bring up, Peter.
So that would say 250 plus the 140, I mean, that's 390, that's almost, that's almost $400,000 that goes, that goes back into free cash. And when we're watching every penny these days, that's, to say that we turn back that kind of money.
Well, that was the goal. I mean, I didn't think we should spend that amount, but, and I'm glad that we haven't. I think that we want to be responsible with taxpayer money, and we have been. And I think we've still explored everything we wanted to. And we didn't come close to spending the full budget, so. We did a transportation study, and an additional transportation study, and then we're working on the additional study at the high school. And that was a lot of that just came out of the public's feedback, so we wanted to explore to make sure that we've covered the bases.
I think other topics for preparation for the ballot is we are going to, thanks to Principal Norton, we're going to have 2 more tours of the People's Elementary School for those that still have yet to see it or would like to come back and revisit it. That's Saturday, November 19th from 1 to 3 p.m. and it's Saturday, December 3rd from 1 to 3 p.m. as well. And we really truly invite people who, haven't had a chance to come see it now that, some things are slowing down a little bit around elections and stuff like that they can come and visit the school. And, Saturday soccer is no longer an excuse. So we know half the town is available on Saturdays now, so.
How are these tours being promoted?
We have flyers, we're putting them, they've been it's already been advertised in the paper. We're putting it on our website. I'm sure Bourne TV would put something up for us as well, and I'm sure that Mr. Hilberg talked about it today in his discussion.
E-news.
E-news, broadcast news.
Then the dinner scares me, because we saw this with other previous debt exclusions, and especially the override last year, or a couple of years ago, is overkill. You know, people are seeing this. It's been out in the news since before town meeting. We've been on TV now at least, 30 meetings at least 25 times. I just don't, it gets to a point now where they're pushing too much and they're pushing back. We don't want to hear anymore, and when they get in the ballot box, they may vote no. So when we go and do this, and people want to canvass, people want to put signs out, TV interviews, everything else, but there is a limit at some point where they get, it's like this election. Who in this room got sick of seeing advertisements after, and then by next Tuesday they just couldn't wait, and it got to a point where some people didn't even go to the polls. So when we do this, be careful on how we promote this from here on in, because sometimes too much is not good either.
Well, I think, we've done what we can, and I don't think we've done more than that. There's other people that might want to do more than that, but this committee, we're kind of bound by our
Yeah.
trust with the public that, we're doing a study, but we're informing them that the ballot vote is December 6th, and that they should vote, and that there will be absentee ballots available. I don't think they're available yet.
It's just, yeah.
They are right now? Okay, so if someone might not be available on December 6th or goes to Florida or something like that, they could do absentee voting.
Up to noontime the day before.
And, we hope that, and just to reiterate to people at home that may not know, and we try our best to get that across, is that you need both votes. So it's not just town meeting. Town meeting did approve in a vote, but it's also a vote of the ballot. And so that has to either pass or fail at the ballot. But two votes need to be taken to either approve or deny the project. So the vote at town meeting was favorable, and then we have the ballot vote December 6th.
I think that's the most important point to make, because I think at this point, a lot of people already understand. We're continuing to have the tours, which I think is the best way to show people truly real time, this is what it looks like. But there are still people out there who think that just because the town meeting went a certain way, then it's done. And so I think it's very important to keep driving that point home, that you do actually have to show up at the ballot box. And but I agree with you, Peter. There gets to a point where some people are just going to turn it off. If people are calling or jamming it down, people are going to look away and say, I don't want to hear this anymore. But you would hope that at least you can get the date out there. People see it enough with the signs. I think that's very powerful to be able to drive around town, and it's a reminder. And now that all the other political signs are gone, it's the only thing they're going to see. I think that's very important. Is there any way to have that published in a newspaper? Is that a cost to us? I know you'd said that they advertise newspapers for this tour. Is there a way to advertise when the vote is?
There will be a big article in the paper by the Enterprise, and Paul Gately's looking for someone to write an op piece to put in the paper, and so that should be coming soon. So
Okay.
there will be opportunity in the print media to get the word out,
Okay.
and between some of us are active in social media, we'll get the word out as well, and,
Right.
and various ways.
Yeah. I know there was a Facebook invite. I don't know if anyone's seen that who's active on Facebook, but
Yeah.
there was a invite for the event.
Yeah.
So look at the New People's website, or the New People's Facebook page, and they have a link to that.
Well, even Bourne has done that. But, 'cause I subscribe to the theory that small intimate groups are good. If you have a coffee with 10 people in a house, those 10 people are gonna go tell 10 or 15 other people, and just so these little factions, if you work with your social group and your friends and neighbors, it could work.
Right.
It doesn't hurt.
Mhm.
Sometimes if you get too big of a group at a time, you lose interest.
Right.
So just work within your circle of friends in the PTA or neighborhood or what, teachers association or whatever. And those, like I said, 10 can be 100 pretty quickly.
Right. I look at town meeting. That's amazing. Yeah.
So, back to the days of Ernie Forney. and none of you in the room were around, maybe Rick and I are probably about it, the only one to know what we're talking about here, but Ernie Forney's a former selectman going back to the 60s and 70s, and he did his business at the coffee shops. On a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever after church, you were in that coffee shop and people came to him, and that's how things got done.
Right, right.
Well, maybe that may be a way to go back to it, because that's what I do.
Mhm.
I get people come up and talk to me all the time,
Yeah,
good, bad, or indifferent.
right, yeah.
Just to reiterate again, there's been a lot of positive talk about it, but the positive talk only goes so far. People actually have to get out and vote.
Yeah.
Come to fruition. So I appreciate the positive talk and communication out there, but I just hope people are committed to going out and voting December 6th.
Okay. So is there anything else that anyone want to discuss?
Should we just review our calendar of events and stuff that have
Yeah.
been scheduled?
I know there's a couple things coming up we're attending.
I know that some people have done some things as well. I don't know if they want to share.
Okay.
I just have a question. Is there any possible way to get this printed smaller so that it's almost legible?
It comes with a magnifying
You
glass.
hold it all the way around.
I think this is Kent though, not, isn't it?
Joel, this is Joel.
Yeah, I know Joel did this.
Oh, yeah.
So you take a picture of it and then you
Blow it
blow it
out,
up.
okay.
And half of it's no longer relevant, so we could,
Yeah.
stretch it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, just to bring up, Janie and Liz and I went to the Bourne Women's Club a couple weeks ago and had a nice conversation with them. Janie did a nice presentation. And we've got the Council on Aging, their board meeting, which is also with the Friends of Bourne,
Thursday on the 17th.
this Thursday. And Peter and Jim.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yes.
try to.
And what else do we have? We attended the plays. We had, a big display there and with our pamphlets, and we were there to answer questions. We didn't really hand out or try to, push the issue on anyone, but we were there to answer questions, and I had several people ask me some questions about it when they looked at the displays, and so I thought that was a good idea. And also, the soup and sandwich is Wednesday. We're gonna do that November 30th. Be there just to answer questions, sit down with, here at the community building during the lunchtime here, and hopefully,
We're gonna push some papers with some sweet treats for them to take with their bag lunch. There'll be a little bribery involved, but we'll send that out.
I also participated at the high school, and I had just, it was just good to be there in case somebody had some questions. I had actually some students that came over and asked a lot of questions about it that were high school aged, and they wanted to know more about it, which I thought was great. So it was good to be there, to be available for people. I did work with the superintendent up at Cape Tech, who attached this flyer to any Bourne students that attended the 8th grade orientation, so we were able to get those distributed in that regard. Trying to think if there's anything else in here.
And they're allowing a table for the craft fair.
I didn't get that
Okay.
approval yet. Nope.
We do have a table for the Santa Secret Workshop and Holiday Fair. They've changed the time this year, so it's from 10 to 3. But they've said we can have a table right in the main lobby there, which is where all the traffic is. So it's a good spot.
And then for the selectmen's meeting, that's still November 29th, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll probably just use public participation to inform the public about the vote.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be an agenda item, there's nothing to discuss.
I was gonna ask you, we
No, just remind everyone about it.
that may be better, because if you have an open agenda, item, maybe open yourself up for, for questions that you may not be prepared for, so it's probably for the best that it stays in public comment.
Yeah, I think,
I think we're pretty prepared for questions, though.
Yeah, I doubt that there's
Yeah.
much that
I mean,
we're not prepared for at this point.
Yeah, we've
Have
done
our ducks in
enough.
a row, yeah.
Yeah.
We've done our homework, Peter.
Well, I'm sure you, well, you get paid, you're the highest paid town employee, I hope you have.
I am not the highest paid
You and the
employee in
chief.
town.
I don't,
Not
I
the
don't
highest
think
paid
it,
employee.
makes any sense to have a discussion about it with the selectmen on the 29th. Just, that was my intention,
Sure.
that I had said before, so I'm just going to, and we still have public participation, right?
Yeah, we will not be eliminating that.
All right.
I'm trying to think of what other groups have, other than maybe the school committee that's on TV, that's really the two major groups that,
Yeah, they could make an announcement,
yeah.
We have. Well, I'm not school committee, but.
or,
as a
or
superintendent-
closer to, so-
We
but
have.
just date-wise, you know, just to keep the
Relentlessly.
reminders.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the garden club had recently had one of their big meetings right before this was assigned, but, I'll keep sending them the tour dates and at least hopefully get them there.
Switch Club, isn't Switch Club up and running now for basketball?
No, not until, right around December,
Just doing signups now, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
I think right after the ballot question.
okay. So we're on a little window where there's nothing going on, or?
Well, I think we've done you know, as a committee, because, you know, we're meeting again before the vote, but I think as a committee, I think we've done a really good job of informing the public. Town meeting was a very captive audience. They kind of came prepared with their decision in mind. And there were a couple comments made, but they were really generic comments that weren't specific to our project or the police station project. They were just sort of about Proposition 2.5 and borrowing, and it affects everyone. I mean, they're all valid comments and arguments, but I think that there wasn't confusion about the project. You know, information-wise, we've done a really good job. I think with all the community meetings, with the televised meetings, I think people have had an opportunity to catch us somewhere. They might not follow us every week, and you know, now we're not every other week as we were, but I think over this last year and a half, they've caught up to speed with the whole thing and the pamphlets and everything we've done. So, you know, this committee, you've really done a lot of work because there's a lot of people to reach in town. And, you know, December 6th, they'll have their mind made up of what they want or what they don't want. But I think at least we've answered, you know, 95% of the questions, and you know, we've gotten as much information to the public out there that we could. So I think I think it's reflecting back on this committee that we've done a good job, because not because it passed a town meeting, but just, you know, we were there at town meeting, and you could get the sense that it's not confusion about this project. People understand the project, and they're engaged in the project. They, you know, like I said, they might not be engaged every single day, but you can tell that they're up to speed with what we're doing and what we're proposing. So I think it's going well, and we have a few more, you know, groups that we want to touch base with, and reminders that we want to give the public just to, you know, remember December 6th, because it's just an important date, you know. So, and we've made a commitment with the state that we're trying to do this and take advantage of probably the biggest grant we'll get from them on it. So, I mean, that's what we're doing.
Just out of curiosity, has anyone come across recently any resistance from any of the various groups we've been discussing this with? I mean, is there anything else we need to be focusing our attention on besides the date? I haven't had an opportunity to be as involved with this roadshow as much as I would have liked to. So I'm just curious, has there been any resistance, or is it, for the most part, people are understanding where we're coming from and recognizing that something needs to be done to the school? Just throwing it out there.
For the most part, I feel like it's been pretty positive.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest questions out there has been when some of the current payments are going to be ending, such as the community building, middle school, Bourne, things like that. So they have an awareness of when that is ending on their taxes and when these other ones might come on. I think
Okay.
that's probably the biggest question
Okay.
I've heard from different groups.
Yeah.
And by the time this building is paid off, we will have room in our debt service to absorb the other ones that that, if approved, will go on. So you're not gonna see the impact of the police or the fire state, and the police or the People's Elementary School replacement to 2020, 2021 at the earliest. You can have short-term bans, you know, through construction methods, but the actual debt, the actual impact to the taxpayers, you're not gonna see it for a while, if approved. And so people have a chance to plan out, and basically you're placing one debt as just in debt for another debt.
Right, okay.
So it's,
Well, and that is, you know, we don't have to do any kind of civics lesson for people, but that is one advantage to a debt exclusion, is that it has an end term. And so when someone discusses about Proposition 2.5, it's part of the same animal, but they're different. And 2.5 is a permanent tax increase. A debt exclusion is a temporary tax increase.
It's like a mortgage.
Yeah, or
Mhm.
a car payment.
And
Once the
so,
loan is paid off.
and usually what happens is after the debt exclusion's paid off 20, 25 years later, your tax base has gone up, so
Right.
you don't see the savings,
Right,
but it does come off the tax rolls.
right.
Well, the other thing I've learned too, a week before voting or anything else, all of a sudden, all these people who know you start calling you. What is your thought on the people's school, and in my case, police station, and things of that? And they will ask various questions. They're almost looking for guidance.
Right.
But what I've learned, be careful. Because if you make it a horror show that people's is gonna fall down tomorrow, people do not like to be pushed to the wall. That's been proven on the last go-around.
Well, you know, we've tried to make it a point that, you know, we're not doing any scare tactics on
No,
this
we're
committee.
not, but it's how you phrase things. We're pushing a lot with photographs and that, which is true. This is problems that's at people's. But they don't like it pushed down their throat like they're being pushed.
Right.
And we're not.
I think
Oh.
they have to take a tour to
Yeah.
really see it for
Well,
themselves, just like with the police department, it's the same idea. When you see with your own eyes, you can hear all you want, oh,
Yeah.
bold and blah, blah, blah. But when you
Everyone
see
should
it-
get arrested and go to the police
Right,
station and
exactly.
you
You never know,
personally,
yeah.
but no, you're absolutely right.
When you see it with your own eyes, I mean, even if I had no idea anything about this committee, just going to my child's open house, it was shocking. You know, and my kids, my older kids, hadn't been in the first grade in a few years, so to go back to it, to see the change in the second grade hallway, I mean, just to be able to experience it was like, oh my gosh,
I
there really
had
is
an
something
older
to this.
gentleman refresh my memory because I was too young and I went to that school. That school was a temporary situation to relieve our pressure from the base.
Right.
Temporary became permanent,
Right.
which always happens.
Right,
But people forgot
Mhm.
that was a temporary fix.
right,
And now it's, oh my God, it's gone too far now.
right. It's
And
amazing
so
it lasted
it-
this long, yeah.
It was an education when he spoke to me. He was very intelligent, knew a lot of the facts from way back.
If Peoples were on the base, we would have replaced it long ago.
Right,
Would have
It
no
was
other
built in that
choice.
same exact mold that Stone and Lyle and Otis Memorial and even Campbell, which has now been torn down, they were all built at the same time, generally, and out of the same materials. Those buildings were all put together with some PCBs, and it's just, it's time to get that done.
my question is, because I have satellite televisions, I have to watch things online. But Jeannie did a tour, a taping that's been playing on local cable access, I believe. And I don't know if that's been impactful. So you say people aren't coming for the tours, but I believe we've done a taping, so maybe the public has seen it. You know, if they've watched the TV show. So they know it, so they are educated on what's going on.
I was amazed Friday when we attended the memorial over here, the rededication of the thing.
Mhm.
And 3 people walk up to me and said, I did not know 2 of them, and said, we've seen you on this program here. And I'm going, oh, okay. Who'd I make mad now? But it is watched.
Mhm.
It is watched.
I think one of the last points that I want to make is that, we walked into town hall with a very collaborative, united community. I don't want us to, we're doing a lot of work still as a school building committee to try to get this ballot on December 6th. I hope that the other committees, like Selectmen and the Finance Committee, have not overthunk their role with regards to this moving forward. I hope it's on their agenda moving forward, and they continue to reiterate the importance and the unanimous decision to move forward with this and not lose that community-wide spirit that has been presented for the special town meeting. So I hope that the select board has it on their agenda and continues to reiterate how important this is as a project, as a select board, and I hope the finance committee does the same as well. Because right now, all I'm hearing is school building committee continuing to do work. I'm not getting the sense that it's being touched upon by those committees, and it's really important for the community to know that there was unanimous support for this and the other project, but for this project too, and it should be reiterated on TV, because people do watch the meetings on TV. And I hope they know that they have a role in this moving forward for December 6th.
And we'll be bringing it up tomorrow night.
Excellent. All right. So, is there any other business, old or new, or? We do have one more meeting before the December 6th vote. On December 1st, we're meeting again. And then we have these, these other functions that some of us are attending in between that we've already discussed. So, was there anything else?
Public comment?
Yeah, well, from our committee? Any public comments? No? All right. Well, everyone's doing good work and continue to, do work of, we're doing work on behalf of the taxpayers and everyone that put together this committee and funded it. So I think we've done a good job and just continue to do that. And I think that, we've had our, we've shown good faith to the community, and I think it's responded quite well so far. So they'll still continue to see us at a few more functions, and I'll attend a couple more things, and we'll have our December 1st meeting one last time, and we'll kind of wrap up our loose ends before the vote. So I guess if that's all we have, is there a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right, thank you, everyone.